What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Blade Dragons podcast. I'm Elliot,
And I'm Alex.
and this is a very special episode because we have an actual good episode to cover today. But before we get into that, make sure you follow us on our socials. They're on the screen right now. Our YouTube channels are popping off. Get on before we reach 1 million subs. So, that out of the way. Take it away, Alex.
All right, so we have just watched episode 4 of the Beyblade X anime, and it was the best episode yet. The first two episodes were definitely a bit rocky in our opinions. However, episode 3 was a very big turnaround. There were a lot of things we liked about it, and episode 4 continues that trend. So I am definitely excited to get into everything that we have to talk about today, which we're going to take a look at right now.
Whoa, hit the brakes. Elliot from the future here. Just letting you guys know, we lost our entire stream recording here. We have our localized audio, our bullet points, and screenshots that we talk about, but we won't have any face cam or transitions between them all. Not sure why the stream crashed and our files got corrupted. We will try to improve and figure this out for next week. All the content is still here, just a little different format. Thank you, let's resume.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get started. Our first point is we start in chapter 3 here. So with chapter 2, it was split over 2 episodes, and that's not something that we see with chapter 3. It's all in one episode, and there's still extra stuff again that we see. So we're seeing the trend of the anime adding on its own stuff alongside keeping with the story, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we'll get into some things they take out, some things they put in, or they're not exact substitutes, but they're interesting that they're not one for one. Though we see a lot of little Easter eggs in both of them, so we'll get into that.
So this episode, of course, is all about the Beyblade sponsors and how in Beyblade X in the Pro League you need a sponsor. So we are introduced to Maiden, Mako, and Mr. Taisho, who, of course, owned the sushi shop that Common X decided to, ask for sponsorship. And this episode goes over chapter 3, which, as we mentioned, is, the whole sponsor thing. So they explain that a lot. And that's something interesting because we've never seen, this level of professionalism in Beyblade as a sport up until now. Because it's always been a sport in every iteration of the anime. But this is the first time we're seeing sponsors, which is something that's very real in say motorsports or just any sport nowadays.
Yeah, no, now they're doing real backing, not just working for the evil company that they will give you a helicopter ride to each tournament or whatever you fight for them. Now it's apparently monetary value is a thing now in Beyblade. So we'll see how that goes. Some cool perks we've seen with the sponsorship that we'll get into.
Indeed, it is it's a very interesting topic that we're only seeing now in Beyblade, but I think that's important. I think the reason that we're seeing sponsorships now is because Takara Tomy is pushing Beyblade as a sport in real life as well. So, having sponsors be part of the anime is definitely a smart move on their part.
Wait, so this means that we should start this sushi in real life, and then we can be the first Beyblade X sponsors, right?
Yeah.
We can get in the ground floor right now.
Exactly. So we'll get Zanki on board, and we're going to have the Blade Dragons official Beyblade X team. We're going to get sponsored by our local sushi shops, and we're going to live in one of them, which we'll get to that part later. But the next thing that I wanted to touch on is Professor Multi, which of course is Multi explaining the importance of sponsorships, which was in the manga and is definitely very important. So she explains in this little bit here how it's it's a mutual thing where you get to play in the pro leagues, and then the sponsor gets recognition from people that watch you in the pro leagues. So it's a very kind of for dummies way, or more like a simple way of explaining how sponsorships work, which I think is amazing. This is a topic that kids wouldn't necessarily need to know about, at a young age, but this is definitely something that's relevant for an older audience. So I like that they're meshing that together and putting it in the anime right up.
Mm-hmm. Now they've done some good detail off these first few episodes that going over the types and just so much more strategy is involved. We'll see a plenty of that in this episode coming up. That they go hard with the strategy, and it's very cool to see that people switch it up and people are shocked because their go-to strategy doesn't work all the time. So keeping everyone on their toes in these Bay battles. It's not as repetitive as we were expecting so far.
Absolutely. With all the battles being like kind of short, it's refreshing to see differences between them. It's like this Beyblade has this particular gimmick, or here's a strategy with the launching that we're seeing immediately. Just the variation right off the bat is fantastic, and it is so refreshing. Sometimes it felt like the older animes could like drag on a little bit with the techniques and the styles that they showed, and they would have the characters grow, but sometimes it didn't feel like it would progress fast. Where at least right now for Beyblade X, we're seeing a lot in a very short amount of time, so there's definitely time for them to play with different styles and techniques that we'll see coming out. So another point that we wanted to talk about was more of a funny one. We have a few of those in here. We've got like funny things that we noticed. And probably the one of the funniest things early on in the episode was when they're at the restaurant, and after Multi was explaining the sponsorship deals to Bird, he is fervently just taking notes and scribbling them down, and it was so funny just seeing him like get so into it. And he's got this
Professor
whole ass
Malty's giving a
notebook.
pop quiz, and Bird's like, "I'm gonna fail this if I don't take my notes right now."
Exactly, pop quiz is happening tomorrow. Bird's got to take his notes. Said he's ready. Fortunately, Professor Multi's nice, so it's open book. But it's so funny. I love how much expression that Bird gets, because I think one thing that some people were mentioning was that in the manga, it's like Bird is very, there's a lot of expression with Bird in the manga, and some people didn't think that it would translate well into the anime, or that, ADK wouldn't translate into the anime, but they did. There are a lot of moments like this where Bird is just, looking goofy or doing something goofy. Like right here, for example,
Mm.
Bird just pulling off this casual face here. You gotta love it. But I think it's so amazing that Bird has so much emotion in the anime.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of comic relief sections in this anime. We haven't seen that very much. It's either like Beyblade Metal Fight was super serious, like not really any jokes were made, and then Burst made just really stupid jokes meant for children. Like they weren't even funny. It was like, oh, I'm gonna go skydive in my backyard and land on my face. Oh, that's hilarious. But we saw a few things in this. It's just the face. Yes, that screenshot right there. Oh my gosh, that caught us off guard so much. I'm like, what is that even Bird?
He looks like an egg.
Oh my gosh, it's just the animation to some of these characters makes us laugh more. Like if there's good animation or good like facial expressions, you don't have to force a stupid joke in there. Like that just catches you off guard. You go from to just stupid things.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing what we get with the animation. I'm definitely excited to see all the other characters, because let me tell you, if you've caught up with the manga, there are some moments that I cannot wait to see, especially in episode 5, and we're going to talk about that when we get to that part of
Yes,
the anime.
eventually. We'll see if it
We'll
even
save
makes it up
those.
because we've seen less things get cut out. But this one
Hmm.
frame or page that we saw, chances are it's gonna get thrown in the incinerator.
Yeah, I don't know if that one's really going to make it in, but we'll have to see. Now, one thing that is very interesting in terms of things that we didn't see comes in the form of a difference between the anime and the manga. So, in the anime, if you saw the episode, Taisho explains how he once long ago wanted to be a pro blader himself, and it shows here he's got a shark edge, and it's got no shark in the gear chip, which is very interesting because we have not seen any generic bays like that. All the generic bays have been like copies of existing Beyblades. Like Strike Hawk in the anime is just a wizard arrow. I think 460 low flat or whatever, 480 low flat, whereas in the manga it was different. And that shows true here because in the manga, if we take a look at the panel, we can see that, Taisho has this, four-bladed Beyblade here that kind of looks a bit like a crude Dragoon. And then it also says 1999-07, which is a reference to when Ultimate Dragoon, the first Beyblade ever, came out. And there's also a little note here on the bottom of the panel that mentions that.
1997, gosh.
No, they got it wrong. I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
was
sure
gonna
it was
say, I was like,
99.
no.
Because it says 99 up here, so this was the note was written by the scan later, so I think they just hit the wrong number key.
Okay.
So a little bit of a typo there, but it was July 1999 when Ultimate Dragoon came out, which is really cool. So that means July 2024 is going to be a big month for Beyblade. But anyway, so it looks like, here they kind of show that, and they even have like the classic Bakuden Shoot Stadium here too, where he's launching his Beyblade in. So they definitely show that Taisho.
Yeah, let's just point out here that Taisho's hairstyles are going to be just as important as Malty's uniforms. He has a sushi that looks like a sponge in this manga, but then he also has a Bakuten Shoot top or whatever you want to call that in his flashback. So he has fashion. He might not have hair, but he has headpieces to expand his lore.
Absolutely. He's got a dope little like rope on his head as well. Is that his hair? Or I don't even know.
No, that's a
Taisho.
I think there's a name for rope like that, but I can't recall what it is.
I know a name for some rope, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, so continuing with Taisho's got a very interesting hairstyle. But one thing that is very interesting, along with this retcon, so we don't see the date here like there is in the manga panel, and we get Shark Edge, and there's no stadium, there's no Bakuden Shoot reference anywhere. So that means that there was never any Bakuden Shoot, Metal Fight, or Burst in the Beyblade X universe, which actually also we see in the thing, and I gotta find which screenshot it was real quick, but here it is. So in the manga, there was this panel when they were first going to Taisho's sushi shop, and it shows we've got a bunch of different skyscrapers here, and we can see here Takara Tomy logo, we can see the Beyblade Burst logo on this building, we can see the Bakuden Shoot logo on this building.
No, that's Metal Fight, and then Bakuten Shoot's at the bottom, maybe.
Oh, isn't this Metal Fight? It's got like a little swirl on it. And then this one's got the triangle.
I confused him. I thought that might have been the dragon at the bottom, but I don't know.
Yeah, no. Well, because it's also the Japanese version. So the Japanese logo was
right.
a little different.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but it shows here that Burst, Bakuden Shoot, and Metal Fight were in the, are canon. And, also with the Taisho screenshot, if we go back to it, we see the Bakuden Shoot Stadium. We see, like, a Dragoon-like Beyblade. And, the 1999 reference versus the anime where we did not see the skyscrapers with the names on them, and then we don't see the date, and it's just Shark Edge that Taisho's got. So that's a very interesting point that is going to be important probably later in the anime, because I don't know if the manga is going to do callbacks like that again. And if they do, we can safely assume that they won't be present in the anime.
Which is pretty cool that at least the manga is being more inclusive about the entire series of Beyblade, and compared to X, which obviously if you're selling a product alongside that you wouldn't really want to call back to a 25-year-old product at this point that no one can buy and have it be shown, but at the same time, that'd be insane. What if Dronzer-esque Kai makes an appearance at the top of the X Tower?
I hope. Maybe they'll do that. Maybe, like, at the top of the X Tower, in, like, the audience, they'll have, like, character models that look like Kai and Ryuga and whoever used Tripio and Xander.
I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. What if they had crossovers, like some animes do like fun, like what was it? My Hero Academia did like baseball episodes and whatnot. Like, what if we did just non-canon episodes and Tyson fights Common X or something?
I know. I had like this idea for like a spin-off season, like like after X over is over and it's
Mm-hmm.
ended, and we have all the products for that. I would love to see like a little spin-off season where it's like we have like different gens. So we have all of the X over bays and all of their users actually show up and use their Beyblades and battle the different characters in Beyblade X. And I think that would be like a really fun side project to do, commemorate, or maybe an OVA. Maybe we get like an OVA of that. It would be like a fun little thing to do for the fans because definitely with the 25th anniversary and the X Over project entirely, I think it would be a fun thing if they included if maybe and they could bundle it too. They could make the OVA like a DVD exclusive thing and
Mm-hmm.
then bundle it with like an exclusive Beyblade X Over set where they have people vote for their favorite X Over Beyblades and then those get into like a special pack with the DVD and that's sold.
Yeah, I mean,
Takara, listen up. Take notes like Bird was. We're building your brand for
no,
you.
I mean, I could even see them do like a transition in like their commercial for it. It's like, oh, it goes from Tyson launching his bay and then it like transitions through time and then becomes his X bay. And then he goes and extreme dashes Common X and Common X does his classic facial expressions. But there's so many ways to incorporate it, especially if they're doing these many callbacks in canon manga. Like they're not forgetting about it, but it's just the fact that how they're gonna have to pace it in order to match the release date, that they don't just completely overshadow these current X bays with these past bays that everyone's already hyped about. So chances are it's going to be like 2 years till we actually see something cool like that because once again, this isn't even localized to America or worldwide yet. So there's so much hype around Beyblade X that I don't know about you. I get so many comments about people like, "How do I get Beyblade X? I'm in so and so." And I'm like, w- even in US, we have to import them from I don't even know how the whole ecosystem works, but it's like very unique for us getting I don't even know if these are early releases worldwide or exclusive Japanese imports or whatever they're considered now, but it's a very interesting ecosystem to get these products nowadays. So they're rushing it out really fast. That I don't know what the pacing is when it actually releases in America, because at that point we're going to be on season 2, and are they going to re-release Drawn Sword in the states while we're on Ultra Extreme Dash season 2 or whatever? So we'll have to see. Because I think I've mentioned prior, I've never been part of a Beyblade release. So when they have to take a step back 12 months and incorporate everyone once again, we'll see what that's like to be so in the future compared to what's actually being shown in our location.
One thing that happened very recently in like the past couple days was that Hasbro announced that they will be continuing their partnership with Takara and ADK to launch Beyblade X in the US. So Hasbro is back, and frankly, I know a lot of people are upset about this, but there's a very good reason to be happy about it, and it is with this second paragraph here, where it says New Beyblade X introduces a new spin on the toy line, commemorating previous generations while introducing new gear innovation, allowing tops to speed into high gear for explosive battles. Beyblade X offers tops identical in weight, feel, and performance across Hasbro and Takara Tomy, along with additional Hasbro tops that meet the same high standard. The new generation builds off Beyblade's rich history, from the brand's launch in 1999 to 2008's Metal Fusion launch to 2015's Burst technology, while mirroring the high quality fans have come to know and love with the Takara Tomy product. That statement right there says that we are getting one-to-one Takara Tomy Hasbro products. So it's like if I have like a Hasbro drawn sword and a Tomy Health Scythe, I can take the drawn sword blade from Hasbro and then the ratchet and bit from Takara Tomy and combine them, and there's going to be no problem, which is exciting because this is the first time since Metal Fight that we've seen Burst and or you know Takara Tomy and Hasbro products be interchangeable like that?
Yeah, but with Metal Fight, they weren't even 1-to-1, but they were just compatible. So for them to be quote unquote compatible or 1-to-1, that's going to be very interesting because who's to say that one's going to be different than the other? It's like, oh, are half of my combinations now just going to be confused hodgepodge stock combos between both releases? I mean, I've already heard different molds for like Wizard Arrow are good. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll have to see what a Hasbro mold is compared to a Takara Tomy, and it's just gonna be a learning curve. But I'm glad that Takara Tomy tightened the collar on Hasbro and said, "You get the hell back here, and you do justice to this series instead of driving our sales down."
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, all right, that's enough. We saw what you did with Burst. You're in the doghouse. Make the products right. And Hasbro's like, okay, I'm sorry. Don't beat me with the broom again. We'll make good products. But yeah, so I'm definitely willing to give Hasbro a chance with Beyblade X. From this article and from what they've said, I am hopeful that we will be getting accurate products for the first time in what, like 8 years or
At
something like
least
that.
because last time I think the last time they were 1-to-1 was Plastic Gen.
I mean, Metal Masters was pretty good with the quality. It was pretty similar, but like once we hit Metal Fury, that's when they started to deviate a lot
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have 4D initially, and then when they did release 4D, it wasn't in stock colors, and then when they did release stock colors, they were lighter than the original Takara Tomy mold. So Metal Fight never really, Metal Fight didn't recover after Metal Fury,
Mm-hmm.
even when they did release Hyper Blades. But Metal Masters, it's like you could buy Ray Striker and then buy like Takara Tomy Unicorno and they'd be the same. So they did a good job with that. But I mean, I think Metal Masters was like 2012, 2011, so it's been like a decade at this point since we've seen, accurate Hasbro quality.
Yeah, there's definitely hope for this because the one thing that they were striving for was to keep Hasbro around for the global release because Hasbro has their hands in every continent making the products, where Takara Tomy, I want to say, is just mainly localized to Japan or that part of the world. So with Hasbro listening, following orders for Takara Tomy, and having this much reach around the world, in theory, it should go off without a hitch that everyone around the world will get the same releases within the same month. So if they can follow the rules and stay on the up and up with everyone, this should be an absolute insane globalization where everyone's going to have the same quality, can expect the same things, and this will be an actual world sport that we don't have to worry about Indonesia's market being too OP compared to South America's, where everyone, if they wanted to fly to a country, they would all have legal bays to fight in this tournament.
Mm-hmm. And that's definitely very important. And we've said this before that Beyblade X being a sport and the marketing that Takara Tomy has done around it being a sport, even if they had, back when we didn't know that Hasbro was still involved, or it wasn't like explicitly stated, we said like whatever company that they did go with for manufacturing, however they decided to release it worldwide, they would need to ensure that the quality is consistent everywhere. And with this statement from Hasbro, it sounds like they're confirming universal quality, which I am so excited about because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that we care about with Beyblade from the manufacturers is that it's the same anywhere you go, any company that manufactures it and distributes it. So I'm definitely very excited to hear that. And then I think the last thing with the toys is that we're probably we're going to get consistent quality, but is it going to be mirroring the way that things are released? So are we going to be seeing random boosters? Are we going to be seeing the gotcha system? Are we going to see the Beyblade X app be universal? Because I don't believe that they mentioned the app in this. and that's a big part of Beyblade X right now.
Because
And
that app has some very unique features that haven't been done in like any other app prior, which I have no idea how they're even planning to do this, but I'm sure by the end of X, this could literally be like an Xbox game with the quality that they're trying to shoot for. So everything is pointing in the astronomical direction for this series, and the one thing I just keep thinking, I'm like, how are they gonna top what they've already done? It's like it's already just I love Beyblade X. It's just crazy.
hmm it's yeah, we're definitely excited for it. So really, we're probably not going to hear anything new on Hasbro's front for like half a year. Maybe like next summer, late spring, early summer, we'll
Probably yeah,
probably get
probably
like
around
some
the same time
updates.
that they actually released Burst or Beyblade X in Japan. We'll probably get a trickle out
hmm
effect by that fall. Because what they announced at the beginning of July, they had the Japan event with Hell Scythe Drawn Sword, and then by the time August, September rolled around, people were actually able to get their hands on it. So probably
hmm
about the time we got the teasers last year of what was actually going to happen is when we'll hear Hasbro's side of it, and it's all just a learning curve because obviously Takara Tomy has faults in their molds and in their consistency internally. So it could take a full generation for Hasbro to get their motion in this whole generation, but at least they're still around and they're gonna try their best. So we hear.
Definitely. Yeah. All I hope is that we don't have to deal with gotcha system because while it's a unique concept, it's not really something that we see in America where we have like the gotcha system on the app for getting Cobalt Drake. A lot of people have been speculating that we're going to get a direct Cobalt Drake release in the US. And right now, Cobalt Drake is still like $370, $400 online if you want to get one. If you don't have the app or you don't have that money to spend, it's like you can't get him, which sucks. But I don't think that we'll see that in America. So we'll probably see Cobalt Drake get a solid release along with Viper Tail and Shark Edge, and then maybe we'll still see like the deck sets. I think those would be cool.
Probably, definitely.
Um, but we're probably not going to see random boosters or select random boosters, and we're not going to see like gotcha on the app. So maybe that would be the only difference we see in the mobile app for Beyblade X is like some territories will have the gotcha and some won't. I can hope, but I'm just hoping that however they do handle the app, it has the same like QR code on the box system to get your bays, and it has the same what do I think of? It has the same like online multiplayer like
Mm.
they've been advertising with X, because I think that would be huge, being able to like virtually battle people all over the world with with the app. And then that also means if they did that, we would also be getting the Bay Battle Pass release, which I don't know why they wouldn't do that, because that's such a cool concept to be able to it's like maybe you live in like a very rural area and there's not a lot of people around to Beyblade with. You could just Beyblade on the app with other people.
That's me. That's me. I'm hoping to Beyblade alone. Just be able to do my daily
Yeah,
missions, grind that out, and win Cobalt Drake every 3 months.
yeah. I mean, you could. There you go. You could make a game system on the app that's like AR. It's like you launch your Beyblade in real life, and then on the app it tracks that, and it's like you have to customize a Beyblade that can spin for this long,
That would be
or you have to
sick.
like win a battle in like this amount of time, or you have to win using an X dash. Imagine like doing like AR with that. That would be such a cool thing to see.
Yeah, I don't know how they would do it. I don't even know how the battle pass works, like how it can track your launch. I have my battle pass. I haven't unboxed it yet.
I do know. So if you look on a Beyblade X launcher, you'll see like near where the axle is for the the part that holds the Beyblade. There's a little crack there, and if you like spin it, you can see that
Oh, the
there's so
white,
like
the
pull the
black and white. Oh, it's a.
yep,
Oh, that is sick. If
it tracks your RPMs. It
if
tracks
you
your
can't,
RPMs when you
yeah,
launch.
if you guys can't see there,
You can
it's black
you
and
can kind of see it a little bit.
that is cool. I saw that. I was like, What is that? That just seems like such a
Because the
that's pretty cool.
Bay Battle Pass goes on top. It's got the little sensor there, and it tracks it and transmits it to the app. So that, and like when I saw that and I noticed that in the launchers, I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. And it's like, we have to have that over here.
Yeah.
Like, that is, it would be stupid for Hasbro not to bring that over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the gotcha system and some of the releases like random boosters. I totally get it. That's fine. That's a very big thing in Japan, but not so much in America. But the Beyblade X app and the system with the Bay Battle Pass and everything, you gotta have that because that's just so cool. And it's such a big part of Beyblade as well. Like Hasbro never released things like the Bay Pointer or the Bay Point card or the Bay Logger. I never saw Hasbro ever doing that, and it was such a separate system for keeping points that Takara pushed a lot, but Hasbro just didn't. So, maybe this time around we'll actually see the app and the Bay Battle Pass in America, and it's going to be, similar or the same as we see in Japan. So I'm definitely so excited for the product line.
Yeah, we'll have to see. The main thing that people are always speculating about Hasbro, what is their target audience? Are they actually going to target the same demographic as Takara? But, it is what it is. If they're on the leash, their leash is like this long compared to across the world. It should target the same audience, and hopefully this all works out. But I think we should probably get back to the anime. I think that was like a 20-minute detour there.
True, but at least it was on
It
topic.
was
At
on
least we
topic.
talked about
We
it.
like some good conversation outside of the anime because everyone can really just do the
Yeah.
same thing with the anime. But if we throw our own spin on there, that's what we like to do. Get a little more
Mm-hmm.
detail on the today's news of Beyblade.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then I think just to really quick cap off the product talk, like I think it would definitely make sense for Hasbro to market Beyblade X for a wide audience because, just if we look at Nintendo and how they handled the Wii U versus the Nintendo Switch, for the Wii U they advertised it very much towards kids with a lot of kids in their advertising versus the Switch where they showed kids and adults and they pushed it to like a wide market. So Hasbro, I think, can definitely do that. I mean, they did show for Metal Fight a lot of the players in those ads back in the day were teenagers. So, I definitely think that Hasbro, if they, take Nintendo's lead on marketing and they do a mix of kids and their parents or kids and, their older siblings or older friends and then teenagers and young adults, because, Takara Tomy for X has been pushing the it's for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like old fans and new fans. We want everybody to get into Beyblade. I think Hasbro can definitely follow in those footsteps and do the same thing, and it will be absolutely huge because there is an American market. There's a market of adults everywhere around the world that want Beyblades. So, I think Hasbro not doing that would just be kind of hurting themselves.
Yeah, no, they need to go one for one with Nintendo when they released the Wii. Your grandma's sitting there playing tennis in your living room. Your grandma's down there ripping
Hmm.
drawn sword.
Exactly. And then we just get in the anime. My grandma rips harder than you. I think Benkei says that in the English
I
sub of
remember
Metal
that.
Fight.
Yeah.
We're actually going to see Benkei's grandma ripping Dark Bull. I can't wait for it.
Oh goodness.
Anyways, and now we'll get back to the anime. So I think the next point that we were going to talk about was did Taisho give Maiden his Shark Edge? Because we see Taisho had Shark Edge in those earlier screenshots. So does that mean that Maiden's Shark Edge was provided to her by Taisho? And actually, what's the relationship between Taisho and Maiden? Is that like, is that a father-daughter thing or like a guardian
Or
and, whatever
worker
you call,
employee, like. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
like,
sure. I'm
I
sure
want
if we
to,
had a rip or a subtitle, that it probably touched closer to that. But I was kind of disappointed that we were kind of in the dark for most things. But yeah, it's interesting because in the manga they don't show Shark Edge, so that could
hmm
just be because we're talking about Maiden and them having Shark Edge that they just decided to throw Shark Edge in the backstory with Taisho. So if it would be cool if it was like Dragoon, it was like passed down from predecessor to current user or whatever. So I don't know, that'd be very cool. That we haven't seen any creation of Beyblades yet, so or how they get them. So I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like they're gonna start 3D printing like Burst. When in doubt, just make a new Bay and you'll win the tournament. If they start doing that, I think the anime will fall off. So if there's like a family
Mm-hmm.
heirloom, uh, Beyblade like Cobalt Drake was passed down from his dad or whatever, that'd be pretty sick.
That would be, yeah, that'd be interesting to see. So, we'll definitely have to wait for more information on where base come from and what the lineage looks like. Um, yeah, definitely excited for that. So the next point we had was in the manga. This was a big difference because there was one thing. If there was one thing that I noticed with episode 4 is that there are a lot of deviations from the manga with this episode. It's mostly been like very similar between so far, but this is the first time we're seeing like a lot of big differences, and I think probably one of the biggest differences, aside from the Shark Edge retcon and everything, was the fact that in the basement, if I can find it here, here we go, and here we go. So in the anime, it shows us in the restaurant that there is a sushi bar, which of course is typical. It's a sushi restaurant, and Taisho's the owner. Maiden, I guess, is the maid and waiter. Um, and she looks a little bit. She looks interesting in this.
Page, yeah.
she she looks. I don't know what to
Ma-
make of it. She looks kind of
See,
funny,
see,
but
Maiden's like as tall as the entire bar, and then Taisho's almost the size of the pot on the counter. Like we were laughing about,
it's so
we were
funny.
laughing about the scaling of all these people. Like when we get down to the basement, you'll see we were trying to calculate their height and everything, and Taisho literally looks like he's a foot tall. Like Vault is in canon, I think he's like 4'3". Taisho's got to be like a foot and 2 inches or something. So we'll get into
Yeah,
that. It's just really funny the art styles and how they compare to other objects.
it's so funny, but I guess that's just anime for you. The scaling is always like kind of wonky. As long as it's close enough,
hmm It
it's
looks
good.
good when
But
you watch it, but if you're gonna study it and do pixel measurements, you can't go off of anime.
it doesn't work. But yeah. Anyways, like one thing that I wanted to note with the sushi bar was the fact that in the manga, the sushi bar it's circular first of all, and then it transforms into a stadium, which was so cool in the manga. But sadly, that's not something we see in the anime, and I think I know why they did that, and that's based on something at the end that we'll get into a little bit later. But
Yeah.
mm-hmm. So I know why. I think I know why they didn't opt for this, but it's a little bit sad that we don't get the cool sushi bar transformation. Instead, in the anime, it's a little bit more mundane with how they handle it, but it's still cool nonetheless. And we were actually still able to pick out,
Oh,
some interesting
yeah.
details. So here we can see that this is the basement of the establishment, and it's got a stadium in it, and it's got these walls here. Now take a look at these walls, and why don't we compare them to, say, Max's basement in Bucket and Shoot, where it's got the stadium, it's got this similar like panel wall with the drills in the ends, and I was looking at that, and as soon as we saw the basement, I'm like, oh my god, this is literally exactly like episode 3 of Bucket and Shoot when they go down to Max's basement. They have like the base stadium and everything in there. So it was so cool to see that, and I wonder if that was intentional, if they intended to, call back to Bucket and Shoot's basement in Max's dad's shop, which is also similar to Metal Fight, where the B pit had a basement with a little stadium in it. Um, in Madoka's workshop, there's a lot of. It's interesting to see that trend happen again for the third time. I don't know. I don't think it happened in Burst, where they had like the shop, and then they had like the basement portion of it.
No,
I don't think
I
Burst ever
think the
did
only
that.
thing I can think of were other training studios or like Iger's barn. Like I don't think they did really. Oh, I guess Wakia might have had like a training basement, but they were always like resort gyms, like nothing built onto the house. Like, oh, this is literally a cellar made for Beyblade. It's always like, oh, this is my extravagant 5-star training studio.
Yeah, yeah, I do remember Wakia had like that gym and he was rich
Mm-hmm.
and something like that.
He literally
Kind of
bought
remember that
Beyblade.
from the anime.
It's like halfway through the series, he was the owner of the whole series of Beyblade.
He just
Yeah,
buys
no,
it.
he
Right. Oh,
becomes
that's
the,
so
the
funny.
chairman of Beyblade, and he just starts running it, and he's like, what, 14?
Oh my god. All right, Zanky, get on it right now. You got to be the headmaster or the the director of the WBBA, man.
There you go.
Counting on you. But yeah, so it's so funny to see the basement come back again. And it's another thing with Beyblade X calling back to previous gens, and even in the anime they're doing this. And maybe it's not explicitly for the purpose of calling back, as we'll get into a little bit later, but it's definitely nice to see that they took at least what it looks like. Maybe we're over analyzing it, but it looks like they took a lot of inspiration from Gen 1
Mm-hmm.
with the basement design. So that's something that was definitely interesting, and I loved seeing that a lot. The next point that we've got
A
is
big one.
another thing that was not in the manga, and this was a big point in the manga. So to explain this part of the story, essentially, in order for Team Persona to be sponsored by Taisho's sushi shop, they had to battle Maiden in order to prove that they were capable or worthy of becoming the best of the best. So it was kind of like a test, similar to what Hyoma did in Metal Fight, where he tested Jinga Benkei or Kenta, Benkei, and Kyoya before letting them down into Koma Village. So it's a very similar thing that we see here with the gatekeeping a little bit, and not in a bad way. So, but however, in the manga, Taisho, and this is also in the anime, Taisho knew who X was, even with the mask on. And sadly, we didn't get that little cool, fun bit where Maiden stalks Bird, Multi, and X as they're going home. So we get like this little bit in the anime where we can see Maiden like sneaking around the corner and kind of spying on them. And I was a little bit sad that we didn't get to see that in the anime, but I understand why they don't want to encourage stalking. But one thing was when Maiden was putting the challenge out, when Taisha was like, you have to battle Maiden, X was ready to go, but Taisho did not let X battle Maiden because he already knew that X was the top of the league. He was at the top of X Tower. So he was like, well, you already made it to the top of the X Tower, so we already know that you're good. We got to test the other two. But in the manga, or in the anime, sorry, don't I don't know what they said between it, but oh, that's it. Huh. But they had Common X battle. I don't know. You can't really see
Kind of cut off a little
Shark
bit,
Edge
but
in
yeah,
Maiden's hand. Yeah,
she just
yeah,
caught it. Like she foreshadowed this battle. Like she knew. Well, she did her research. Like now these battles are all live streamed. That you can do your research on them. So she knew what Common X strategy was. I think he rode the extreme line and just went in for the kill. And she didn't even brace for impact. She literally let Shark Edge go. And everyone was so shocked because the hit looked like it was staged. Like, I don't know what they did, but she literally just holds out her hand and Shark Edge goes there. Kind of cut off a little
Shark
bit,
Edge
but
in
yeah,
Maiden's hand. Yeah,
she just
yeah,
caught
but
it. Like she foreshadowed this battle. Like she knew. Well, she did her research. Like now these battles are all live streamed. That you can do your research on them. So she knew what Common X strategy was. I think he rode the extreme line and just went in for the kill. And she didn't even brace for impact. She literally let Shark Edge go. And everyone was so shocked because the hit looked like it was staged. Like, I don't know what they did, but she literally just holds out her hand and Shark Edge goes there. So Common X was fuming. He's like, that was the most annoying battle. Like I thought I was actually gonna get a good debut for my sponsor, and she just didn't even let him battle. And then they just moved
yeah.
on to Bird, and Bird gets one shotted.
Yep, and yeah, that was pretty much X versus Maiden, which you know I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed that it was kind of trash. It was a bit of a trash battle, but to be fair, it's like at least we saw them fight, so I guess that's something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't that interesting when they translated it over. But anyways, so of course next after X, kind of just wins by default, it's Bird's turn, which is canon with the manga or consistent, and we see Bird versus Shark Edge, and there's a bunch of things that we did get to see. So first and foremost, we do get to see Shark Edge, and it is just a shark. Nothing interesting. It is just a shark. So I don't know if we're ever going to see Shark Edge again. So far, up to chapter 5 in the manga, we have not seen Shark Edge after its debut episode. But it's a shark. That's more than we can say for Pisces in Metal
Mm-hmm.
Fight. But
We'll have to see if they're shying away from the mythical genotypes or anything, because it's like, oh, we have lion, shark, dragon. Well, I guess dragon's mythical, but like more real animals. I don't know, because we got a lot of real animals. Well, actually, I take that completely back. 5 out of the only 2 of them are real animals.
we've got a lion,
And a shark.
and I mean, like,
I
yeah,
just
like out of
remembered
all of,
Hellscythe, Wizard Arrow. I'm like, none of these things are actually real. I take that back.
well, some of them are like Drawn Sword, Drawn Dagger, Wizard Arrow, Hell Scythe. Those aren't real, but Night Lance, Night Shield, those are real. Shark Edge, Land Claw, Viper Tail, Rhino Horn. So it's a mix.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good mix. Very similar to Metal Fight, but pretty good. Now, of course, Bird loses to Maiden, as per usual for Bird so far, which is consistent with the manga. But one thing that's very important that they showed is how the burst happens. And of course, if you know the products and how the products work, you'll know that the main point for bursting to happen happens at the ratchet. The ratchet, the blade part is twistable, as Elliot's cam is, as Elliot's showing us on his camera.
So the
If
the
you
bit turns to grab onto the extreme line better and not affect the burst, but then the ratchet is actually the part that turns and delocks. This Viper Tail was very annoying to get apart. I don't know why.
it's the 80 ratchets. I don't know why the 80 ratchets are so
No,
tough to like
I can't
take
take
off.
this off, but it can't stay together in battle. Like, go check out my video.
Exactly. Yeah. Go.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I turned it the
We'll
wrong way, but
we'll
yeah, there's I give up. Picked the wrong Beyblade. We'll move on.
yeah. It's definitely a lot more easy on the 60 heights. So Drawn Sword and Hell Scythe and Shark Edge, it's a lot easier to take the ratchet off for whatever reason. I think Elliot's Beyblades are just glued. He must have glued them for the effect.
Yeah,
Oh wait, he got it
I
off.
got it off. I can't put it back on now.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I think I
Maybe
think I just
get
need to push in more. I don't know, but
maybe it's time to hit the WD-40 up.
Ugh.
Exactly. You got to get that elbow grease in, but yeah. So it in the anime, if we get back to that, it's important that they showed that hitting the ratchet is what gets a burst finish. So at least they're keeping that consistent with the product, and I'm pretty sure that they showed that in the manga as well. It was a gimmick of Shark Edge being able to do uppercut attacks. That's the whole thing. But it's nice to see that they spend time to address how it happened in the manga, instead of Shark Edge just kind of like doing a quick thing and then Hell Scythe just bursts in midair. No, they actually go under and they show how it happens and the bursting process. And of course, we get another amazing bird face here, where he's just losing his mind that his Beyblade has just been burst, and it's cut in half and everything.
But this is it did surprise me that we finally did see our burst. That chronologically, this is the first burst. We saw an extreme finish, a spin finish, and now a burst. So I don't did they refer to one as an overfinish? In the manga I remember seeing that they referred to an overfinish, but in the anime all we've heard are extreme finishes. So we've almost seen all the types of ways to win a battle now.
Yeah, actually, we have seen every type because we did get that spin finish in episode
Mm-hmm.
2 or episode 3 with that little extra training bit that they showed. But it's nice to see like very consistent, details between the products and the anime. For the first time, they show solid reasons for how things happen that are consistent with the anime, and I can't say for Burst because I didn't see that, but I'm pretty sure that they did show off a lot of the gimmicks in Burst. So
No, there weren't a
seeing that
whole
as
lot of
well.
gimmicks in Burst. It was very, I don't understand. Burst was a very unique thing on its own that it was just felt very rinse and repeat, copy and paste.
I know I know for a fact that Hasbro did censor some of the gimmicks that they showed in the anime because Hasbro didn't have those gimmicks. So
Hmm. I,
yeah, but
we're not the Burst channel. Don't subscribe for Burst. My goal is to never feature a Burst Bay on my channel.
if you want to go for burst content, Left Burst is a great channel to follow for that.
Yeah.
But we are Blade Dragons. We talk about. I'm Metal Top Sync. I can't be talking about plastic
I'm
Beyblades.
Elliot
I
Sampson.
can't be
I'm Bakatenshu Dragon, dude. Like, come on.
exactly. We can't be talking about burst Beyblades. This is unbelievable. Anyways, so our little comedy out of the way. We got so yeah, it's nice to see bursting. We've seen every finish. We've seen extreme finishes, over finishes, spin finishes, and burst finishes. So they haven't made a huge deal out of each one, but it is nice to see very early on that we're seeing everything
Mm-hmm.
happen, which is so cool. So that is of course our quota for Bird getting his butt kicked in the anime. So of course next was Malty's turn, and one thing that was mentioned by Maiden was that since all of the battles were live streamed, they were able to watch Malty's performance and take notes on that. And then Malty is like, okay, so you watch my battles, but I guess you weren't prepared for my new Beyblade Night Lance. And Elliot's got it right there.
I'm gonna start
And
doing this. I got every Beyblade in this anime. Visual representation.
exactly.
Wait, I need to get
We're gonna have
a
to
hat on. I could be Malty. I'll just shave my beard.
yeah, get the what is it called? Get like the hat that you used in your video the other day. It's like the
Oh,
triangle
yeah.
one.
It's full of Beyblades right now, but.
Oh, rip. It looks like Taisho's headpiece, except way bigger.
Yeah, this is my Beyblade headpiece. I'm Taisho now.
I love it. Oh, jeez. But yeah, so of course, Malty is up against Maiden, and she brings out Night Lance to feature in the battle since she has not battled with Night Lance before. And one thing I gotta say is that the product or the Beyblade in the manga it looks so similar to how it does in real life. And it's like it's always been like that to an extent
Mm-hmm.
in the show, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too happy with Beyblade X at the moment because the anime is fire, so I'm like praising it in places that doesn't need to be praised. But anyway, so it is nice to see that it's nice to see that everything looks the same. I guess is my point. But anyway, so we get to see Night Lance, and of course we see the battle. Now in the battle, I don't know if we got a screenshot of it. It was when they did make a point of noting that Malty launched at an angle. So once again, we see that angled launches.
She was
are
dancing.
A big thing.
She was doing the wobble in the middle of the stadium.
Mm-hmm. So just like in our last episode, we saw that Night Shield was at an angle. We see that Night Lance was at an angle, and that was the strategy that Malty used. She played smart in her battle, and she launched at an angle so that she could, easily, deflect and dodge Shark Edge's attacks. And then one thing that we were also able to see, which is definitely very important, was her special move, which is, of course, Rainy Lance, where Night Lance is, we see like Night Lance up on this
Random
here,
cliff. I don't know
and
where that came from.
I think it's,
It's just atmosphere.
I don't know. Just to add the atmosphere there, but Night Lance tosses down a bunch of lances, and then Night Lance in the show kind of like slams Shark Edge down, and like bashes it into the bottom of the stadium, and then that causes Shark Edge to go out of the stadium, and of course Multi wins the battle. So of course, that was in the manga as well, and I think it was a great battle. It was, even if it was short, and that is the trend for Beyblade X, it was a very good battle nonetheless.
So technical difficulties. Sorry guys. I know you're tuning into the last 10 minutes of an hour and 10-minute podcast, but file corrupted. We have video now. Let's finish these last 4 points and hit the road, Jack.
Yep, sadly my PC crashed, but we were able to salvage all the audio, and we have our little filler clip that we got, so we saved the best part.
There we go. So let's finish this strong.
So we're gonna continue with the podcast. So first, one thing that was funny towards the end of the episode was Bird doing the soy jack pose, and this was a very big. This is something that everybody's been memeing about, and I gotta full screen that. And it's Bird just pointing over at Common.
He's such a good meme template.
He's just like, look at how happy he is, and it's just so amazing. And he's just like pointing at Common, and it's so funny. I love it. But Bird, oh man, so memeable. I can't wait to see what the thumbnail for this is gonna be.
I don't know. We got some options. Got some very big options.
We have so many different options for thumbnails on this app. But anyway, so one thing that we did see again was, of course, Multi's big case of Beyblades, and we saw it from a new angle. We saw it from the side angle, and it's interesting what we see. So it looks like it's mostly the same from before. We can see the Shark Edge copies, the Wizard Arrow copies. Oh, we can see Night Lance. Oh, excuse me. We can see Night Lances. And then we can see Night Shields. Sorry, we can see Night Shields, and we can see.
Do you think we're gonna get a watermelon wizard?
I hope.
It's kind of cool.
I hope we do.
We haven't gotten any two-tones.
Yeah, we haven't seen any like stock two-tone bays. Like we've seen some from the like Takara Tomy recolors, but not really stock colors.
No, everything.
I hope we get that watermelon.
Everything's been bit chip, and then outer ring. Nothing's been like that. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. I think it's I hope we do get like that watermelon recolor. That's really sick.
I bet they could make some hideous bays like that, but it's a cool concept.
Probably. I mean, hey, we got Wizard Cheetos. Why not have watermelon wizard or a watermelon arrow?
Hideous.
Wizard melon.
Hideous.
Wizard. Yes. Wizard Cheetos.
My brother's calling him poop sandwich.
The top kind of does look. It's got like that weird brown color.
He's poop sandwich.
It's funny that the top is brown and the middle is red.
Yeah,
somebody's been eating the wrong things.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got Multi's Bay case, and it doesn't look like it's any different from before. But there's no Night Lance again, and there's of course 2 stock Shark Edges. So it's interesting. It's interesting seeing that come up again.
So high res.
That wasn't something I was expecting. And this is also one thing that we missed. One thing that we were going to get to was after the point where we didn't see the Beyblades like stop spinning out of the stadium, is that after the battle ends and they agree on the sponsorship, the rest of the episode does not happen in the manga. So again, we see the anime doing stuff that we did not see in the manga, which is very important. And I'm glad that we are seeing that, because we get a little more story development. And of course, Just like episode 3, the extra stuff is so important to take note of. Um, because we get this lovely little bit. We see Bird
Mm-hmm.
practicing. So Multi, goes downstairs to get a drink and then hears Bird in the basement, and she walks in on him practicing his launching techniques. And we never saw that in the manga. So Bird is, actively practicing to get better, which I'm so glad we're seeing this
There,
because now Bird is a lot more compelling.
there was a section there where they were clowning on Bird for some reason. Without the subtitles, we couldn't tell, but the whole room was like pointing and laughing at Bird in silence. And Bird was like, "Me?" And it was like, "Is he the only one that he's the only one that lost to Maiden?" Which it could have been something like that, or he's the one bringing down the team or whatever. And now they lit a fire under him, and he's gonna go train. But the training
Mm-hmm.
arcs are pretty cool, even though it seems like they're more adequate than Burst was. Burst was like, oh, I'm just gonna go scream at my Beyblade and launch it a few times. This one at least seems like Bird's doing a workout and trying to actually do technique instead of just meld with his Bay more or rip harder.
Yeah, and that's something that we definitely saw in Bakuden Shoot and Metal Fight, where they would practice specific techniques for upcoming battle. We see in episode 1 of Bakuden Shoot, we see Tyson practicing his jump launch in the middle of the night to battle Carlos the next day. Before the Jiao Shin battle in Metal Masters, we see Masamune training to work on his one-point attacks with the old man in the forest. So it's like, before there's a lot of particular, things that they're working on. And, it's nice to see that come back in Beyblade X. And we see Bird practicing. And one thing that was also really sweet is that Common X and Multi also come in to train with him. And then Taisho and Maiden also come downstairs and see them. It just makes Taisho so happy to see that the team that he's sponsoring is actively, training to get better, and he shed some tears, which is really sweet. That kind of hits home a little bit. I liked seeing that a lot.
I don't think we've ever seen tears of joy, really. It's always like, I lost, or something.
We kind of did. Benkei sort of shed some tears
No,
after
because
his
he
fighting
loves
Kyoya the
Keoya.
Battle Bladers. Yeah, yeah. Benkei. We'll have to do a like.
A deep
We'll have
dive
to do a
on Ben
Benkei
K.
episode. Yeah, we'll have to do that someday. Oh, that'd be a great episode. I love Benkei. He's funny. I love him in Zero G. He's one of the parts of Zero G I actually like, but that's for another day. But back to X. It's so nice to see like these character emotions and this development.
A lot of
And
different types of emotion shown, not just seriousness or laughing. Like, I don't like. There's just so many. They don't miss an emotion so far. Everyone is portrayed
mm-hmm.
very well.
Mm-hmm. One quick thing before Multi went downstairs is we noticed, of course, she's got. Oh, I can't believe we forgot to mention this, but one of the most important parts of the anime is that they explicitly state, and this is the reason we were alluding to about the basement, is that after the sponsorship deal goes through, X Bird and Multi move in
Oh,
to the upstairs of Taisho's restaurant, which is pretty cool. And I think that's an interesting development because that means like Taisho's shop is going to be like probably the main place they eat, the main place that they live, and where they train. So it's nice to see the anime sort of have like a mega house, even though it's like the smallest house in the city and it's just a house wedged between two skyscrapers. It's like this massive place that we're probably going to see a lot. And I hope we see more Maiden battles in the future because I think Maiden is absolutely amazing.
mm-hmm, for sure.
But it's so cool to see that, to establish that, and that wasn't in the manga.
Nope, they're
So
all one
it's
big
nice
happy
that we're
family
gonna.
now. It's literally like they just said, okay, come live with us. We'll eat, feed, sleep together, and we'll become the world's best bladers.
Mm-hmm. But I guess residence has never really been like a big thing for Beyblade before. I mean, like Tyson had his house, and Bert or Vault had his. Metal Fight.
Jinga lived in
Nobody.
grass, like he slept by the river.
Yeah, Jinga lived out. He just lived outside.
Yeah, he
Like
never lived
I think
inside.
they never slept inside. Just about.
Besides
The
when
only time.
Jinga slept on Madoka's couch when
Mm-hmm.
she was fixing Pegasus the first time.
The only time we ever saw anybody sleep inside was at the bee pit. Nowhere else did anyone ever sleep inside. They always slept like either outside on the dirt on like their sleeping bags. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
like by the
Metal
fire with Ryuga.
Metal Fight was always like so over the top with like how they portrayed Beyblading as a career.
It's
It's
like
like
Bear Grylls
sleep in the dirt.
Bear Grylls
No
couldn't even Beyblade.
It was all Metal Fight Bear Grylls edition.
It's Ryuga. That's Ryuga's title.
That's pretty. Ryuga is just the Bear Grylls of Beyblade, unstoppable and sleeps in the dirt, and all of the other Bear Grylls things that we probably don't want to be saying.
So
Um,
Last biggest
yes.
point.
Our last point is the most interesting point, and this is the first time I think since episode 1 we're really like talking about the next episode, which of course, if you've seen episode 4, you will know that at the end of the credits there was, what we're going to see next time, which was this really cool shot. And if you notice, you can see that we have drawn sword battling around on the edge, the outer edge of the X Stadium. So we've haven't seen like the in the manga we've seen like the standard Beyblade X Extreme Stadium that we've gotten in real life, and it looks identical for the most part in the manga, except a bit bigger. In the anime it's not like that. The stadiums all look the same, but they have like this unique design, and it's definitely reminiscent of there's qualities that are reminiscent of the real stadium, but it's got this weird outer edge. So this is something that's interesting. Is that something that maybe Hasbro will give us with like this massive outer rim? Or is this something that is only going to stay in the anime? I kind of hope, because Hasbro's always had a thing where they make their own stadiums and they do their own thing. So I kind of hope that they do this and they give us the anime stadium. That would be so sick. Or maybe, who knows? We have a lot of time before Hasbro even starts, pumping this stuff out to the US. Takara could just do this immediately, and I would love to see it. It would be amazing. Probably not, because there's no outer dome on it. But
I don't know. I like how compact X is right now, that they just battle each other really close combat. But I guess there is a lot of time where they jump over the extreme line. So if they could do this move that they go and literally ramp out and then just come back in and then hit the extreme line, that could be an insane combo.
it would be, incredible to see something like that.
Yeah, because we haven't had any power like that for them to actually ramp up the side and come back down. So maybe that's a cool gimmick they could throw in there.
Or imagine something like a double X line where it wraps around like twice and it like goes up a layer before shooting back down into the stadium. Seeing something like that would be pretty sick.
A lot of concepts that we'll have to talk about in the future.
Oh man, this is why we're so excited about this generation. There's like all of these cool things that they can do that we've never been able to see before. And even the anime is giving us inspirations for new concepts for this toy line, and it's just this is the reason we get so excited about Beyblade. There's so many ideas that we can put together. It's insane. It's awesome.
Yes. So that is the end of our points.
Yep.
Episode
that
4
is it
was a
for
big success. We actually got progress, that they hit their first checkpoint, that now the base is set. They all have their individual roles, they have their team set in stone, and now this is when they get into the actual X Tower and trying to take on the world of Beyblade as a team. So
Yep.
going forward, it's going up with the whole team. We're not really focused on individual battles anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be very much team focused through and through. Something that we really haven't seen since Baka didn't shoot, and even then it had its own arcs, and Tyson was very clearly our main character. But it's very excited. It's exciting to see.
That is episode 4 done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow our socials. They should have been on screen somewhere. As you can see, technical difficulties happened. We had an outro filmed. We don't anymore, so this is what you're getting. Once again, sorry for the only audio. We're doing our best to accommodate you guys and make this a little more entertaining. But for now, this is what we got. Any last words, Alex?
No, I don't. I'm just. Aside from the frustrating technical difficulties, episode 4 was absolutely fantastic, and I am so excited to see what we get in the future with Beyblade X. And it's gonna be such a fun ride going forward. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Blade Dragons out.